stack some cash, we gon' stack some cash, we gon' pump our bags with that real DeFi money. Get some change, you can make some gains. We don't play no games, our team was born ready. Stack some cash, you gon'...
Hello, and welcome back to All About Stack Cash, where we discuss the Stack Cash protocol, a decentralized community banking DAO. Today, we will be discussing part 4 of All About Stack Cash, where we take a look at the white paper for specifics on the Stack Cash ecosystem. If you missed part 3, feel free to look in the description, or if you look in the corner right now, you will see a link to part 3. So over the course of this video and those to come, we'll be discussing all the aspects of Stack Cash, from giving a general overview of the ecosystem to talking about its specific parts, more in depth about NTTs, the Stack token, the Cash token, the Stack launch, team rewards and payout structures, roadmaps, FAQs, social media, and a lot more. In part 3, we discussed the Stack tokenomics and started with what is the Stack token. Then we discussed the Stack treasuries and its participants. We then went on to talk about the Stack token reflections, which goes to all users and all treasuries, and ended by talking about the Stack supplies gamma squeeze. So today in part 4, we will continue to discuss the Stack tokenomics, focusing on the protocol and team treasury rebalances. Then we'll go into depth about the Stack token liquidity drive and the Stack token distribution. So we'll begin with the Stack protocol treasury and team treasury rebalances. So what is a treasury rebalance? So a protocol or a team treasury rebalance is when the treasury sells its access Stack tokens to rebalance or lower to the desired Stack supply or the rebalance threshold that's set for that treasury. What rebalances do, it helps control the size of treasuries. So this helps the Stack generator stay larger than the regulator stays larger than the board treasury stays larger than the committee treasury, and the committee treasury stays larger than the Stack Cash treasury. So how often a protocol treasury rebalances depends on the speed of its growth, where all team treasuries rebalance on a monthly basis. There's multiple reasons why the Stack Cash protocol have treasury rebalances. One of which is that it adds Stack tokens to the regulator, adding sustainability to the Cash token. Another is that each treasury adds Stack tokens to the treasury that's beneath it in size. And last but not least, for those who got NTTs, which helps the protocol, the treasury rebalances add Stack and Cashbox bonds for those NTT holders for their addition to the protocol. So let's talk how each treasury rebalance works. So the largest Stack participant will always be the Stack generator. As the largest participant, the Stack generator will always get the most reflections. So as the Stack generator grows, once it reaches 50.5% of the total Stack supply, or 52,500,000 Stack, it sells 0.5% or 250,000 of its Stack tokens, which provides the protocol USDC liquidity as well as Stack tokens to purchase, and it also reduces the size of the generator back down to 50% of the total Stack supply. So the key to the Stack generator rebalances is to add Stack liquidity. Next, we'll talk about the regulator. So the regulator is the second largest participant in Stack, or the second largest holder of Stack tokens. And the regulator rebalances when it reaches 62% or plus 2% from the last rebalance of the size of the Stack generator. So the regulator treasury size is based off of the Stack generator. The regulator sells its access Stack tokens at an amount of 1% of the generator in order to provide the protocol cash liquidity, thus returning the regulator's size back down 1% of the total generator supply. So on a rebalance, it sells 1%, and in order to rebalance again, it has to raise 2%. And what this does, it continuously grows the size of the regulator in regards to the size of the generator. So what this assures is that the regulator is continuously growing in size to get closer and closer to the size of the Stack generator. And ultimately, what the regulator provides the protocol, it provides direct cash and USDC vault liquidity in order to sustain the Cash token. So continuing to talk about the stack system treasuries, we'll next talk about the board treasury. The board treasury, which is always the third largest stack participant or stack holder, rebalances when its size in stack is 15% of the size of the regulator, where it sells off a third of its stack, or in other words, 5% of the stack amount in the regulator from the board treasury to provide rewards for board entity holders, the protocol, other treasuries, in addition to adding stack and cash liquidity. Next, we have the committee treasury rebalance. So the committee treasury, always the fourth largest participant or holder of stack tokens, rebalances when its total percentage of stack tokens reaches 75% of the board treasury size. The committee treasury sells 15% of the size of the board treasury in stack tokens from its treasury to provide rewards to committee entity holders. It also adds team rewards as well as to the other protocol treasuries. And last but not least, it adds cash liquidity and stack liquidity to the protocol. Next, we have the stack cash treasury. The stack cash treasury is always the fifth largest participant or holder of stack tokens. And the stack cash treasury rebalances once it reaches 100% of the size of the committee treasury. It sells 50% of its stack tokens to provide the protocol liquidity and rewards. After rebalance, it returns down to 50% of the size of the committee treasury. The stack cash treasury adds to multiple layers of the protocol. It adds to the sweepstake pool. It also adds to cash and stack liquidity, as well as grow other protocol treasuries. So all in all, the protocol treasuries add to the protocol and add rewards to users, as well as maintains its position in whole stack tokens to grow the entire stack cash ecosystem. And last but not least, we have the team treasuries, where all participants in the stack cash protocol will be a part of a team treasury. So once a month, according to the team treasury's birth date, half of all the new stack added to that treasury during the month will be rebalanced. So for example, if a team has 100 stack tokens in its team treasury and it grows to 200 stack tokens over the month, 50% is rebalanced. So in this case, 50 stack tokens will be rebalanced. And what that does, it provides team rewards, partner rewards, and also maintains the size of team treasuries. Just like with the protocol treasuries, no team treasury can grow too large in size. So if a team treasury grows to be 10% of the size of the stack cash treasury, it has what's called a mega rebalance, where it rebalances half of all of its team's treasury stack, lowering the team treasury size to 5% of the stack cash treasury. Now we'll discuss the stack liquidity drive event, or in other words, the stack token fair launch. So the stack liquidity drive is part of the stack launch phases. So phase 1 is the pre-NTT liquidity drive. Phase 2 is the NTT and team building liquidity drive. And finally, phase 3 is the stack liquidity drive. And overall about the stack launch phases, there are no private launches, meaning all are open to the public. And phases 1 and 2 covers the project budget and expenses prior to the stack launch. Phase 1, the pre-NTT launch, is meant for early adopters. In this phase, early adopters receive exclusive benefits. So users who participate in phase 1 receive a HBoard NTT, which for Stack Cash means that they have protocol ownership. They'll be able to receive dividends in both Stack and Cash. Also, participants in phase 1 receive a permanent HBoard NTT status, meaning when the project comes out, they won't have to worry about losing their HBoard NTT. These early adopters also receive voting power amongst the DAO. And last but not least, early adopters receive anywhere from 200 to 250% of their deposited amount back after the stack launch. These early adopters are the only group that receives that benefit. These early adopters have two options. They can receive 200% of their deposit, in which it'll be 100% of the USDC they spent back after launch. Also, they'll receive 100% of their deposit amount into their cash box. Or the other option for early adopters is receiving 250% of their deposited amount back through Cashbox, which pays users 0.5% per day. So phase 2 is the NTT and team building launch. The goal of phase 2 is to make all NTTs available to the public, also allowing participants to choose a team builders to promote teams, and also to build the protocol stack launch liquidity. How it works is users participate by connecting their wallet and is given the option to either choose or be given a team to be prepared for the stack launch and the protocol. This is very beneficial for teams to be built before the stack launch, as they'll get extra rewards at the stack distribution. Also, part of phase 2, participants get to purchase NTTs at a cheaper rate to earn additional protocol rewards. Both the board and committee NTTs, if purchased in phase 2, will be at half price. Also, any entity purchased during phase 2 will be held in perpetuity, so it never leaves the user's wallet. One good question would be, does users have to purchase an NTT to join a team in phase 2? And the answer is no. NTTs and the rewards are optional. A big advantage of the phase 2 NTT team building launch is that team leaders can build their teams. So in order to be a team leader, a user must get 10 partners in order to form a team treasury. While team treasuries can be built at any time for Stack Cash, it's beneficial to team leaders to build their team during phase 2, as their team treasury will qualify for additional rewards once the stack distribution occurs, meaning teams that are formed in phase 2 will get more initial rewards. So let's talk about the Stack Liquidity Drive event, or phase 3. So how it works is users add BNB or USDC to receive stack tokens at the stack distribution at the lowest possible cost. During the Stack Liquidity Drive, participants' contributions are not subject to any slippage or exchange fees. The protocol's goals for the Stack Liquidity Drive is to grow liquidity for Stack and allow all participants to buy an initial Stack token position. The Stack Liquidity Drive event is meant to last for 7 days or 1 week, and it is a fair launch. This is significant for Stack Cash, as no team members, developers, or any user will be able to purchase Stack tokens before the Stack Liquidity Drive event. There is no pre-distributed Stack nor cheaper Stack for anyone. Everyone, including NTT holders, must purchase in order to receive Stack tokens. The Stack Liquidity Drive is also the last opportunity for users to purchase a board NTT. While the H-board NTT can be achieved after the liquidity event, the board NTT will be closed for purchase forever. At the Stack token distribution, participants' stack is distributed to them based on how much a user has added as far as liquidity per the amount of total added for their percentage of stack that they will receive. And all participants share 12.5% of all stack that's distributed. So let's talk about the Stack Liquidity Drive funds breakdown. So the funds from the Liquidity Drive are distributed at 20% USDC to early adopters, 70% overall goes to Stack Liquidity, and 10% goes to Cash Liquidity. One key about the Stack Liquidity Drive is that Stack Cash does not pay expenses in Stack tokens. The early adopter purchases take care of all the project's expenses. The Stack Liquidity Drive event is an IDO, an initial DEX offering. So let's talk about the funds. So overall, we'll have 30% of the funds going to the Stack USDC liquidity pair on Stack Cash's DEX. We'll have 25% going to the Stack BNB liquidity pair, also on the Stack Cash DEX. 20% will be going to the early adopters in the form of USDC. Then we'll have 10% going to the Stack USDC liquidity pair on PancakeSwap. We will have 5% going to the Stack BNB liquidity pair on PancakeSwap. Then another 5% will be going to the Cash USDC liquidity pair on the Stack Cash DEX. 2% of the funds from the Stack Liquidity Drive will go into the Cash Sweep Stack pool. And then we'll have 1% going to the Cash and USDC vault, which supports the Cash token and all of its smart contracts. Another 1% will be going to the Cash BNB liquidity pair on the Stack Cash DEX. And last but not least, we'll have the last 1% going to the cash BTC liquidity pair on PancakeSwap. And lastly, we'll have the Stack launch token distribution. There will only be 100 million Stack tokens ever minted. And the distribution goes as follows. The Stack generator will get 50 million Stack tokens. The regulator will get 20 million Stack tokens. The Stack liquidity pairs on both PancakeSwap and the Stack Cash DEX will get 12,700,000 Stack tokens. As for the participants, all participants will split 12,500,000 Stack tokens from what they purchased at the Stack Liquidity Drive event. The board treasury will get 2 million Stack tokens. The committee treasury will get 1.2 million Stack tokens. All team treasuries will split 1 million Stack tokens based on how much liquidity their team members added during the Stack liquidity event. And last but not least, we'll have the Stack Cash Treasury, who will receive 600,000 Stack tokens. So this has been all about Stack Cash Part 4, where we discussed the Stack Treasury rebalances, the Stack Liquidity Drive, and the Stack Token distribution. If you haven't already, feel free to look in the description of this video for the link to part 3. And also, don't hesitate to like this video, as well as following us on all of our social media platforms: Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and Telegram. We thank you all for watching and listening, and stay tuned for more from Stack Cash.
Stack some cash, we gon' stack some cash, we gon' pump our bags with that real DeFi money. Get some change, you can make some gains. We don't play no games, our team was born ready. Stack some cash, you gon' stack some cash, you gon' pump.